It was a crisp Halloween night, and Margot had the house all to herself. A stack of textbooks sat untouched on the kitchen table, the lamp's soft glow casting long shadows on the walls. Margot, 18 and a first-year college student, had never been one for parties. The allure of studying for her exams outweighed any trick-or-treating or costume festivities her classmates might enjoy. Tonight, her focus was on an easy babysitting gig for a couple who had gone out for the evening. Sean, the 1.5-year-old she was looking after, had been an angel all night. His giggles filled the air, his big blue eyes sparkling like stars. Margot had already tucked him into bed, his tiny form nestled under a blanket adorned with cartoon animals. She settled onto the couch, the warm glow from the TV barely lighting the room. Margot didn't mind the silence. In fact, she liked it. The quiet was her companion, especially since she didn't quite have friends to fill the space. Her phone vibrated on the coffee table, but she ignored it. Instead, she focused on the soft sound of the baby monitor beside her. It was comforting knowing that if Sean stirred or needed anything, she'd hear it immediately. The clock ticked on. A few minutes later, something caught her attention. It was faint at first, a whisper. She furrowed her brow, leaning closer to the monitor. There it was again, a voice. "Margot, come here! It's time!" Margot's heart skipped. The baby, Sean, had been sound asleep. There was no reason for anyone to be talking through the monitor. She glanced toward the hallway, but everything looked normal. She hesitated. Maybe it was just static. Or perhaps the wind messing with the signal. She shook it off, but the voice came again, clearer this time. "Hey, lady, you're too late." Her stomach churned. She stood up slowly, her instincts telling her to check on Sean. What was going on? The house felt unnervingly still. She walked to the nursery door and paused, listening. No sound came from the monitor now, just a faint crackling. She took a breath and pushed the door open. The room was bathed in dim light, and there in the crib was Sean. He was still asleep, a small smile curling on his face as he dreamed. Relieved, Margot exhaled, but as she turned to leave, the voice crackled through the monitor again, but this time it was loud, angry. "Leave him alone! He's mine!" Margot froze. That was not Sean. Her heart began to pound as she slowly backed away from the crib. She glanced nervously at the monitor, but the voice kept coming. It was distorted, eerie and mocking. A sudden shiver ran down her spine. Go now!" the voice hissed. Margot's legs trembled, and she felt a chill spread through her body. She turned to leave, but the footsteps came next, loud and fast, pacing just behind her. Her breath quickened, but when she reached the door, something made her glance over her shoulder. There was nothing there. But the whispers, the low, sinister whispers, kept growing louder. "Don't leave yet!" Her heart pounded in her chest. She sprinted out of the room, the baby monitor's static now blaring in her ears, the whispers turning into full, distorted words. "You can't leave! You're mine!" She raced down the dark hallway toward the stairs, her mind reeling in panic. Something was wrong. Something was terribly wrong. She heard the voice one last time as she reached the top of the stairs, and it screamed in her ear. "Get out of my house!" Margot gasped and stumbled, her foot catching on the top step. Time seemed to slow as she toppled forward, her body twisting in mid-air. The stairs loomed like jagged teeth as she fell, the ground rushing up to meet her. There was a sickening crack, and everything went dark. Hours later, the flashing red and blue lights of a police car illuminated the quiet street. Officers were gathered at the foot of the stairs, one of them talking quietly into his radio. A man in a coat stood nearby, his eyes red and swollen from crying. "How did she—" he started to ask, but the officer raised a hand to stop him. "We found her body at the foot of the stairs. Looks like she tripped while trying to leave the room." The officer paused, glancing down at the baby monitor still lying on the floor near the stairs, the static barely audible. "Strangest thing," the officer continued, looking over at the monitor. "Turns out it was picking up a radio signal. From some old horror radio show. It's been glitching all night, playing voices and static. Maybe that's what spooked her." The man nodded slowly, wiping his eyes. She didn't even have a chance." The officer gave a soft sigh, then shook his head. "Sometimes the signal just gets crossed, you know? It happens more than you'd think. It's strange, but no one was in that room, not anyone real." He paused again and looked up, glancing at the baby still peacefully sleeping in his crib. The officer took one last look at the baby monitor. The voice, the whispers. It all made sense now. Just a glitch in the system, he muttered to himself. but there was something unsettling about the way the static crackled again, as if someone or something was still trying to speak.